Let me start recording. Learn, memorize, everything, whatever you need to do, this part right here. This is probably the part that would be on the ACT, and this is the part that's going to be on any test. This is the easiest, really. This is what this whole unit is about. You need to know this part. You'll be using it the whole unit. Who did I just check in? Oh, Sophie. Okay, and basically what it says is if I have a logarithm that says b to the y power equals x, I can rewrite that as a logarithm, okay? I'm just going to rearrange everything. Everything's just going to be rearranged. And it gets rearranged this way. So logarithm is abbreviated log. Okay, so that's always there. And then I take my three letters, b, y, and x, and I rearrange them. And b is the base of my exponent, so it becomes the base of my logarithm. And then the x and the y just switch places. It becomes log base b. B is a little subscript. Sorry, people keep coming in. So b is a subscript, not an exponent. It's a subscript, not a superscript. So log base b of x equals y. And then I'm going to type into the chat box when we start entering logarithms how we're typing it in. Because you can't do a subscript. You know, when we do a superscript, we do the little caret key with the over the 6 on the text box. You can't do a superscript on the chat box. So this is how we kind of figured out how to do it. Our base is going to go in a parenthesis, so it'd be log base b of x equals, where's my y key? Y. So that's how we would type it in. So whatever's my base, whatever that base of that logarithm is going to be inside parentheses, so I know that that's what's going to be my superscript. So when I'm typing, when you guys are typing in your answers, you're going to type it in this form right here. That's in the chat box. That says log base b, my base, whatever that base is. So if it happened to be log, let's just go ahead and I'll put in this one right here. Oh, and of course it's not a highlighter. Put this one into the chat box. How I would type it into the chat box, it would be log parenthesis 10 parenthesis of 100 equals 2. So that's how I would type that in. So when you're entering your answers, you know how to type it in. So we know that you guys know that little whatever's in the parenthesis is a superscript, subscript. Okay, everyone okay with that? Okay, so everything on the front page is just informational and how we're going to do stuff. That's it. That's all everything on this front page is. So we're going to actually go and we're going to use this part. I'm fine with it being a highlighter. This is what we're going to use all day today and tomorrow, and every day that we do logarithms, we're going to use this just in different forms. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go to the log page. And the first thing it wants us to do is change the following exponents to logarithms. So it's written as an exponent. I want to write it as a logarithm. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. And it said if I have hate it when I forget them in highlighter mode. If I have log base b of x, sorry, I don't remember where the x and the y are. If they're in the wrong place, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. If and only if b to the y equals x, okay? So I have right here on A, b to the y equals x. 9 to the 2 equals 81, right? Oh, there's Orlando, sorry. Okay, so it says I have b to the y equals x. So I'm going to write it backwards. I'm going to write it as a logarithm. So this is going to be log, my base here, which is 9, becomes the base of my log. So log base 9. And then these two, the 2 and the 81, just switch places or switch sides of the equal sign. That That is not an 8. Wow. Okay. Log base 9 of 81 equals 2. So all I'm doing is I'm not solving anything right now. I'm not doing anything except rewriting it in a different form. That's it. So I'm taking my exponent and I'm rewriting it in another form. That's all. Okay? Make sure if you have questions, you write this down. Write it down. Chat it. Send it to, oh, my Lanta. Okay. It's going to be a long day, you guys. I marked everyone absent in second period because I was a half an hour early. So that's the type of day I've had today, just so you guys know. So if I'm doing the second one, I'm rewriting it as a logarithm. I'm going to have my log, and then it's base 10, because that's where my base is, right here, base 10. Okay, and then I switch the -3 and the 0.001. Log base 10 of 0.001 is going to equal -3. Okay. And then the last one is 9 to the 1/2 equals 3. And I just want, I just put a little side note in here that says, recall that this is equivalent to 9 to the 1/2 is equivalent to the square root of 9. That's how I write the square root of 9. The square root of, I'm just going to use x, would equal x to the 1/2. Those are the same thing, okay? If I had, where can I write this? Where can I write this at? If I had the cubed root of x, that would equal x to the 1/3. The fourth root of x would be x to the 1/4. And just that, you should have had that last year. I just want to kind of remind you of that when we're doing this. So I'm going to rewrite this again. So it's going to be log base 9 of 3 equals 1/2. So log base 9 of 3 equals 1/2. Okay? There's another way you can draw your arrows about it. So I really would like you to try and do D, E, F, G, H, I, and J in the chat box. Okay? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start going over these. Remember, rewriting them. A couple people need this. We're rewriting to this form from exponential form. So from exponential form to logarithmic form. And because it is logarithmic form, it has to have the word log in there. That's how we know it's the logarithmic form, okay? So it has to have the word log in there. So this would be log base E. This is my base right here, my base E. And then the other two switch. So log base E of C equals 3. Awesome. And you should be able to read in your chat how we want it typed into the chat. If not, I can retype it in again for you. And then the number E is log base 6 of 1 equals 0. Then we get log base 3 of 81 equals 4. Log base 2 of 1/8 equals -3. Log base A of 1 over A to the 5th equals -5. Log base 7 of 343 equals 3. And then we get to J. Okay, and remember up here we kind of talked about how I can rewrite it. In order to write it from exponential form to logarithm, it actually has to be an exponential form. So there has to be an exponent. J does not have an exponent yet. So I have to write it in exponential form. And I kind of wrote a little hint over here, right here, first of all. If it's x's can be whatever number. It doesn't matter what it is, right? So if it's a square root, I rewrite it as x to the 1/2. If it's a cube root, I rewrite it as x to the 1/3. If it would be a fourth root, I'd write it as x to the 1/4. So this is the cubed root of 125. So I'm actually going to rewrite this as, I don't want equal sign, I'll put those. 125 to the 1/3 power equals 5. Okay, so now I have an exponent. Now I can actually rewrite that into logarithmic form. But because before the original, oh my gosh, I can't talk today. The original equation does not have an exponent in it, so I can't switch it to logarithmic form. So I have to put it in exponential form first. And that's just rewriting the cubed root of 125 is to 125 to the 1/3 power. Is that okay? Does that make sense to everyone? I hope so. Okay, so then I rewrite this as log base 125 of 5 equals 1/3. Okay, questions? No questions? Okay. So the second set of problems is written in logarithmic form, and then they want me to write it from log form to exponential form. So it's in log form. Now I want to write it as an exponent. I'm just going to go backwards. So I'm going to take this equation right here, this little formula or equation or statement, however you want to call it, and I'm going to go from here to here this time. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the base of my logarithm, that becomes the base of my exponent, and then these switch sides, okay? The number that it's equal to becomes my exponent, and then whatever is with this on the same side as the base becomes what it's equal to. So here we go. And if it's purely all numerical, you can see it should be true. I'm just going to say, I'm pretty sure I made sure they were all true, but you know, I make mistakes. So, okay, so here's my base 2. This says 2 to the, this one is going to come here. This one's going to go there. So 2 to the 3rd power equals 8. Does 2 to the 3rd power equal 8? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Yeah, so 2 to the 3rd power equals 8. So I just went from logarithmic form to exponential form. And I'm just going to keep doing that over and over again. So on the second one, I have base 8. That's going to be the base of my exponent. So I have 8, and then this is going to go here, and this is going to go here. 8 to the 0th power equals 1. Same thing on the next one. No questions in the chat box. My base is 4. So I have 4 to the switch here. 4 to the 1/2 power equals 2. Well, and you can actually put 4 to the 1/2 power in your calculator if you want to check it. You just have to make sure you put it in parentheses. 4 to the parenthesis 1 divided by 2. And it should give you 2. And then the last one, same thing, base 10. So I have 10 to the switch and switch, 10 to the -1 equals 0.1. Okay, so now you guys are going to do E, F, G, H, I, and J again. So I'm going to give you 6 minutes because it's about how long it took you last time to do it. So go ahead and start, and we will go over this when you get done. If you have any questions, type it in the chat box, please. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So let's see, we've got C to the -3 equals 10. 4 to the 2.6 equals N. Oh, sorry, 2.6. K to the Z equals P. 5 squared equals 25. 25 to the 1/2 equals 5. Oh, that's not a 1/2. Wow. Okay. Let me try that again. 25 to the 1/2 equals 5. And then the last one, just because my log is in a different place doesn't mean I change it. I'm still going to go with my base of my log. My base of the log is A, and then these switch. So A to the C equals B. Is there any questions? Awesome, you guys are doing great. Okay, last section for today, and then we're going to work on homework, is we're just going to kind of solve it. I'm going to use the same kind of concept. We're going to do a basic solve, just basically so to see if you know your exponents, basically, is what this says. So how I do it is I say 2 to what power equals 16? And that's how I'm going to answer. That's how I'm going to ask myself this question. 2 to what power, because I don't know what my answer is. 2 to what power equals 16? Anybody know 2 to what power equals 16? If you don't know, you just start multiplying by 2's, right? Times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. And that's 4 2's. So it's 2 to the 4th power. Do I need to do that again for you guys to understand what I did? Not 2 times 8. Because it's not 2 times 8. It's 2 to what power? So it's 2 times itself. How many times till I get to 16 is what it's saying. Does that make sense? So I just have to start multiplying 2 by itself until I get to 16. And then count how many times I multiplied. And I'm not going to lie, I usually just use my fingers to count how many 2's. So if you look on the camera and look at me, I went 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, and there was 4 2's, so my answer was 4. Okay? So again, if I do the second one, we'll do a few of them. So 4 to what power equals 16? So what would that answer be? You guys can type the answer in the chat box. 4 to what power is 16? Yes, yes. 3 yeses, 4 yeses, 1 no. So I think what the person I know that I say answered no is it is 4 times 4 is 16. That is correct. But I want to know 4 to what power is 16. And so let me write this out. So 4 times 4 is 16, but that also equals 4 squared. So my answer is the exponent. What I'm looking for is the exponent. Does that help? We need to find the exponent, not what times that number equals that number. I want to find the exponent. So this one says, this one's a little harder. Not going to lie to you guys. Ready? So 5 to what power equals 1/5? So 5 to what power equals 1/5? Ooh. Let's see if you guys can get this one. I'm sure a few of you can get this one. Ooh, no answers yet. Okay, let me ask this question. What type of exponents change a whole number into a fraction? Certain type of exponent will do that. Does anyone know what type of exponent changes a whole number into a fraction? Okay. So let me do this then. Let's add a page in here. I have a whole number and I have a fraction, I know that my exponent is going to be negative. Okay? That's very good, Jessica, by the way. Yes, my answer for this. Okay? And then the next thing I'm going to look at is the number. This is 5 and this is 5. 5 to what power gives me 5? Well, 1. If it was 25, 5 to what power gives me 25? 2. Okay, so if I go from a whole number to a fraction, it's going to be negative. Conversely, I have to think of the right word. If I had 1/5 to some power equals 5, if I'm going from a fraction to a whole number, that is also a negative. Okay, sorry, something weird happened. Conversely, if I'm going from a fraction to a whole number, it's also a negative exponent. Okay, so if I'm going from one version, like a whole number to a fraction or a fraction to a whole number, it is a negative exponent. Okay, I just wanted to get that through and have you guys, I kind of wanted to talk about that. So I hope that that makes sense to you guys. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go on to the next one, which says 3 to what power equals 27? Anybody? 3 to what power equals 27? Yep, good. And if you're not sure, you can just do multiplication on your fingers and your hand, whatever. And I can go 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, and that gives me 3 3s. So 3 to the third power equals 27. Okay? So I want you to try to do the next 8 problems. Okay? Okay, so this says 2 to what power equals 16? Well, that's 2 to the 4th power. Yes, they are, Paige. Very good. Good job. F says 2 to what power equals 1? Well, that's 0. Remember, we just got done talking about what any power that equals 1, well, that's always 0. So if it equals 1, it will always be to the 0th power. That's another way you can think about that. This says 3 to what power equals 3 to the negative 1? Well, they have the same base, so in order for them to be equal, they have to have the same exponent, so that would be negative 1. And this says 2 to what power equals 1/4? Well, I have a whole number and a fraction, so I know that it's going to be a negative. And then 2 to what power equals 4? Well, that would be 2, so that should be negative 2. This one says 10 to what power equals 1 over 1,000. So I have a whole number and a fraction again, which means I'm going to have a negative exponent. And 10 to what power is 1,000 is 3. So that's negative 3. Okay. And then J says 4 to what power equals 0? Is there anything to the anything to any power that's going to make it equal 0? None. This is a no answer. N-A. There's nothing. There's nothing. Oh, how am I going to say this? 4 to no power will equal 0. So there's no answer. That is not true. There's nothing that will make that true. Same with this. 3 to what power will give me a negative 3 exponent? Nothing. We kind of already talked about it. There's no way I'm going to get a negative exponent. And then, of course, the last one says log of base 2. Sorry, I don't know why I rewrote it that way. 2 to what power? 2 to what power will equal negative 4? Well, nothing. Again, that's an NA. There's no answer to the last 3 of them. Okay? Because those just aren't true. Is there any questions on those? Any questions at all? Okay. I'm going to stop to that page. So if I have a table here, right, and I have x and I have 2 to the x power. Okay, we're just going to go there. All right. And let's say what's 2? Let's say x is 3. So what's 2 to the third power? Someone tell me what 2 to the third power is. You can just type it into the chat box. If you guys can do this quickly, it doesn't have to be everyone. Just type in an answer for me. 2 to the third power equals what? Eight. Yeah, good. So 2 to the third power is 8. What about 2 squared? What does 2 squared equal? If I'm giving myself enough room here, I think so. 2 squared is 4. Good. Sorry, I was thinking to myself. You guys all typed in answers. Good. 2 to the first power is 2. Yep, good. What about 2 to the 0th power? Anyone know what 2 to the 0th power is? If you don't, it's okay because we can figure it out from how. It is not 0. Thank you for putting 0 in. And it's not x either. Good job. So we can figure it out from here. It is, yes, Paige, that is correct. Okay, so for the rest of you, watch. Okay, so what did I do to get from 8 to 4 and 4 to 8? So this is how I kind of show exponents. I don't know if your other teachers showed you this or not, and this is kind of how I think about it, and I think it's helped some people. So what do I do to get from 8 to 4? Well, I am dividing by 2, right? That's my pattern. And to get from 4 to 2, what do I do? Well, I'm dividing by 2. And over here, I'm just going down by 1 every time, right? Subtract 1, subtract 1. So my pattern on my x's is the same. Okay? So that means to get from 2 to my next number, what am I going to do? Divide by 2. Are we okay with that? So what's 2 divided by 2? 1. And it doesn't matter, and I'm just going to talk about the 0th power really quick. It doesn't matter what number I have up here. If I had 3 to the x power, and 3 to the third power is 27, and squared is 9, and to the first power is 3. Here I'm dividing by 3. Oh, what did I write? Let's try that one more time. Here I'm dividing by 3. And if I'm going to 0, here again, I divide by 3. So my number is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Whatever my number is here is what I end up dividing by. So if it was 100, I'd end up dividing 100 by 100, which is 1. So anything ever to the 0th power is always, always, always 1. Okay? Does that make sense? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't know. Just thumbs up if you guys understand that part. Or a heart or a celebration. Whatever symbol you guys want to use that you like. Your favorite symbol. Okay. Okay? So anything to the 0th power, 1. All the time. Forever and ever. It doesn't matter. Pi, whatever. Okay. So we're still doing the same thing. What if I said negative 1, right? So I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still dividing by, it's still the same pattern. I'm still doing the same pattern, right? I'm still dividing by 2. So it's 1 divided by 2. And I'm just going to leave it as a fraction because most of the time it's fractions that you guys deal with in these logarithms and not decimals. Very rarely will they have you, not very rarely, rarely will they have you do decimals, okay? So most of the time your answers will be in fractions. So I'm dividing by 2. If I want to say negative 2, and let me just go down to negative 3. I'm still going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. My answer here, 1/2 divided by 2 is 1/4. And 1/4 divided by 2 is 1/8. And if you look, here's a pattern, and I'm going to show it to you right here, another thing I can look at. Let me erase this really quick, because I kind of want to make it clear. -1 and -1, look at my answers, are 2 and 1/2. They're reciprocals of each other, right? 2 and -2. Look at my answers. 2 to the second power is 4. 2 to the -2 is 1/4. It's a reciprocal of each other. 3 and -3. 8 and 1/8. They're reciprocals of each other. So what takes a whole number? Let me ask my question again. What takes a whole number? This is a whole number, right? 2. I can't seem to think what I want to do. This is a whole number. What takes a whole number and turns it into a fraction? What type of exponent? What type of exponent takes a whole number and turns it into a fraction? A negative exponent. So if I have a fraction, let me go back here now. Back here, right? 3 to what power? If I go to a negative, if I go to a -1, I'm going to get 1/3, and a -2, I get 1/9. It doesn't change my signs to a negative. It just gives me a fraction. So I don't get a negative. No exponent. More positive exponents are just going to give me a bigger positive number. A bigger negative exponent is just going to give me a smaller positive number.